Hello and welcome to Karen's Creative Cards on YouTube. I am Karen Hashik, and in this video I am showing you three very different looks we can achieve with the same Stampendous stamps and several ways of masking. We all need to find ways to stretch our stamps and supplies so as to not break our budgets. So figuring out ways to use the same stamp differently is a good thing. I happen to believe it is never too early in the year to start making Christmas cards. So no matter when you found this video, I'm hoping the ideas I share show you how to stretch your stamps and make some beautiful Christmas cards. Of all the gorgeous stamps in the most recent release at Stampendous, my absolute favorite must have was this stamp called Buck Scene. This is a brand new unused wooden version of Buck Scene, and it is going to be part of a prize package that I'm going to give away in October on a video blog hop. I have the unmounted version already set up in my stamp platform. I used that stamp on all three cards I'm sharing in this video today. On this card, I created an oval mask using my favorite masking paper from Ink-a-Dink-a-Doo, and there are links to all the products I used in the description, and a stitched oval die that is part of this die and stamp set from Stampendous called Christmas Bright. So see that stitched die there, and then it has Merry Christmas and Bright. It is a stamp and die set from their new release. I placed the mask on a white piece of cardstock and sponged around it with a dark blue Distress Oxide ink. After removing the mask, I stamped the Buck Scene and Christmas, and I added the Merry die cut from that Stampendous set that I just showed you. I used another set of stamps called Snowman Wishes on the inside of this card. It was a fun surprise to see that the stitching from the mask transferred to the white cardstock to frame the Buck Scene. So this is totally flat and has been masked, but see that stitching that transferred when I pulled off the mask, which was kind of cool. I added a couple blue gems and in different sizes to complete this card. Here are the other Stampendous sets that I'm using in these cards. So I showed you Merry and Bright, Merry Christmas, Merry and Bright from them. And then I have, this one is called Snowman Wishes, and it has several very cool sentiments and a really fun snowman scene on it. This one is called Poinsettia Parts, and so it has a layered poinsettia and that pretty Christmas stamp and several sentiments. I know it's kind of hard to see because I've already used these, but I wanted to share the new stamps that I got from Stampendous. This beautiful background stamp is called Silent Night Background. I'm going to show you how I made this card with that. So I used the Buck Scene and this Silent Night background to make this card, and I did, again, masking when I made it. So I have my Buck Scene set up in my Tim Holtz stamp platform, but of course a MISTI would work just fine. This is the stamping mask paper that I use. It's Ink-a-Dink-a-Doo, and I created a mask with that. So first, I am going to stamp the Buck Scene. And of course, if I hadn't gotten a good image, I could have stamped it again, but I did. Using my tidy towel from Gina K to clean that up, because we'll be using it again. And now I cut the antlers off the mask. I decided that they were unnecessary to mask. So I'm just laying that down flat. Now the stamp I'm going to use is pretty big, so I am going to put a little more temporary tape on the back and place it down. Just a little bit of ink here. So I'm going to lay this flat over the mask. Pick it up with my stamp platform, ink it up, and we can see that we didn't get complete coverage towards the top, so I will ink it again. And now we have, so we can remove the mask, and now we have the pretty Silent Night, the buck scene shown clearly, and then that beautiful background. I would do a little trimming and place it on a red card background and add a couple red pearls. I also decided that the winter scene needed some snow, so I used Nuvo Glitter Accents Fresh Snowfall to add some snow to the mountains and the cabin. And then when you open it, it says, "From home to home and heart to heart, from one place to another, the warmth and joy of Christmas brings us closer to each other. Merry Christmas." I have to say, this is my favorite of the Christmas cards I made with the buck scene stamp and masking. I love how this turned out using the black ice technique on bronze cardstock and the masked buck scene. So I'm hoping you can see that. That is the black ice technique that Melissa Kerman and many others have been showing all over internet land. I masked it so you can see that beautiful buck again, and this piece is a die from Suzanne Cannon for Quietfire Designs, and then on the inside I have used another Stampendous stamp. Christmas is a special time to celebrate family and friends. So here is how I made that one. I have stamped the buck scene with Stazon Ink using my stamp platform. I decided to not show you that part. We do have to hit each step with the heat gun, so I thought I would save a little time there. So I am again using this mask. They can be reused, obviously. And I have temporary tape on the back to hold that down. Things are falling down here. After we have masked the buck, I am going to use my black Stazon and a piece of scrap paper to hold it down. And I'm going to lightly swipe the black Stazon down the card. Then I'm going to hit that with a heat gun just to and now we are going to swipe again, this time with Versamark. You know, you'll have to practice with it. I don't really like those darker lines, but it will look fine once it's done, or I could trim them off. One thing that I found harder to do with this one is to judge if you've missed an area, because this is totally clear. So it's real important that you pay attention to what parts have you done and what parts have you not done. So I'm going to swipe down here, and then I'm going to move over and deliberately hit some of that area that I've already swiped, because if you miss a swatch, it's very obvious. And then I'm going to swipe down this edge, and with that I should have hit all the areas, hopefully. And now I'm using a different piece of paper that's folded so I can dump on clear embossing powder. I'm using Nuvo embossing powder, the crystal clear. You don't want the ultrafine kind, and we learned that with experimentation. A friend was using it and it wasn't working, and you definitely want the more chunky kind for this technique. Just want to make sure I've got embossing powder on all of it. I'm going to dump that back in right away, or I might lose it all. I'm going to hit it with a heat gun. So now if we remove the mask, we have that gorgeous sparkly black ice background with that lovely buck scene there. I just love how that looks on that card. Once again, this is the completed card with the black ice background, with the buck having been masked, so you can see that pretty scene in there. Peace and a beautiful sentiment on the inside. So there we have 3 easy to make mask cards using the same stamp in 3 unique and beautiful ways. Thanks for watching, sharing, and subscribing, and thanks too for helping me share the joy of creativity.